Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of The Better Satellite World, the podcast of Space and Satellite Professionals International. I'm Lou Zaccarella. Today, we begin our series about key technologies and companies on the ground, right here on Earth, who are getting the job done. This series is underwritten with the generous support of Kongsberg Satellite Services. You know them as KSAT. The Better Satellite World podcast is also supported by the corporate partners of SSPI, EchoStar Hughes, Access Intelligence, and the law firm of K&L Gates. SSPI's podcasts are also made possible through the generous support of the 3,000 members of SSPI and our chapters around the globe, including our newest chapter in Canada. Thank you, SSPI. We start our news series by speaking with Alex Donnison, the Business Development Manager for ETL Systems. UK-based ETL Systems designs and manufactures RF equipment. It is considered one of the leading manufacturers of key components. Among its honors, the company has received 3 Queen Awards for Enterprise in the United Kingdom. Alex has been with ETL since 2016 and spends much of his time these days looking at strategic opportunities for the fast-growing space technology company. Alex, welcome to the Better Satellite World.
Thanks, Lou. It's good to be here.
And just for geolocation for people who are listening, you're located physically near the Welsh border. Is that right?
Sure. We're about I guess 2 hours from London on the train. Our nearest airport is Birmingham, where we can direct flights to Newark, or we could last time I looked. Hereford is basically in farming country in the west country of England, just near the border. So it's a lower population density over here compared to down in the London southeast area. Because basically in the UK we've got about 25% of the population in the southeast area.
Right. Okay. Well, certainly the world is undergoing a change right now, and as we all know, or at least we're hoping, we know we're going to flatten this out, and we'll all come out of this. But it's really a lot of it is on the virus's time, not ours. But the satellite industry will continue to change dramatically, and has over recent years. There's more capacity than ever before. Operators are expecting increasing demand from areas, and probably even more so, actually, given the nature of this crisis. Now that I think of it, but OTT video, IoT, 5G backhaul. There's just a lot going on, and there's a lot of opportunities for satellite. But from where you sit, is ETL seeing dramatic changes, more demand, or are you sort of trying to figure out where the markets are ultimately going to go?
I think we've got a very good handle on where the markets are going. To back that up, I've been to 2 meetings in London recently. One was an HTS roundtable. These were mainly European, although we did have some you guys over there. And the last one was Satellite in the Cloud about a month ago, just before COVID kicked in. And all these things are just what you said. The main market drivers that are going on is the integration or convergence of all these things gives the internet of everything everywhere, i.e., as you said, IoT, SATCOMs, 5G, the cloud is very important. I think that's the way teleports are going to go. In terms of our business, we've seen quite a lot of growth in the last year alone. And the main area seems to be in backhaul. At the moment, that's coming from the GEOs and the MEOs, because as you know, the main LEOs for comms, i.e. the broadband stuff and all that, they're not online yet. So I could see that growing further in the future in terms of backhaul. And of course, what's happening there is with what we've seen overall in the last 10 years is a complete shift driven by the market from video, as you know, to data, essentially. And that's the main backdrop, if you like. And along with that, we're seeing shifts, as you know, again, because of bandwidth to higher frequencies like Ka, which brings other problems that we often have to provide solutions for, such as rain fade in Ka. People might would have, or satellite ops would have diversity sites, and then you have to switch between them, connect between them with RF over fiber. So we see, we see a lot of growth coming up
Yeah.
in various
Yeah,
areas.
and for enthusiasts who also listen to this podcast, what Alex is describing is really a big global complex network where more and more people are going to have access, more bandwidth, all of the things that, again, over the last few weeks we've been talking about as critical to both the global economy, but now we're finding that it's almost a survival issue in some places. But th- the bottom line is you're going to be seeing more of this as we go forward, and the challenges will be more complex. And I want to talk about those within the context of LEO and frequency issues, Alex. But you said something that got my attention, that you see teleports going more to the cloud. Now, the components that you guys make, amplifiers and so forth, are critical to teleports. Their business is changing. Can you? What's your relationship with teleports now as they move to the cloud?
Yeah, okay, I got it. At the moment, currently, I mean, over the years, but the relationships, we've got relationships with about, I would guess, 75% of the leading teleports
Hmm.
worldwide. And we haven't seen a shift in relationships. The shift, as we've just talked about, is all to do with the shift in market requirements. Um, as I said, video to data. At the end of the day, what ETL provides to our customers they want reliable RF switching um, signals, and they also want things like reliability and redundancy for when things do go wrong. So resilience is another key word.
Hmm.
And we see, as teleports continue to evolve, even if they do go into the cloud, and they become, for example, if you look at IoT and the amount of data, at the moment it's narrowband IoT, but again, I see an evolution there. I mean, a simple example is take the classic of the oil and gas industry, which started it all off in IoT.
Yeah.
Um, Simply, you can monitor the pressure in a pipe and get a number, and you've got a leak if the number falls. In the future, they could fly a drone up there, like in Alaska, for example, and get a video. Then the bandwidth goes up.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's just an example I'm thinking offhand. So I see IoT bandwidths. Again, that's another thing that will probably increase, although at the moment it's narrowband on most things. So we see, and we're embedding in to our forward development roadmap, the things that we see that are going to happen in the teleports. We've already started on it right now. There's going to be a shift um, in the probably in the mid to latter half of the decade from analog to digital.
Yeah.
And without saying too much about it, because it's a bit confidential at the moment, we do embed that it is embedded in our roadmap.
What are teleports primarily asking you for right now in the near term? Are they asking you?
In the near
Yeah.
term, they're asking for the things they've always been asking for, which is switching, i.e., matrix routers, yeah, which are a major product line for us.
Mhm.
For example, just to fill you on what they are, if you're on you have distributed and combining matrices. So if you're coming downlink, you might have a signal that you want to distribute, um, you know, to wherever in multiple different feeds, and same going the other way. You want to combine a lot of signals to go on the uplink. So that's what matrices are. Um, and without going on to your other questions, obviously the size and power consumption and all these sort of things are important. But apart from that, we also have to supply amplifiers. They're asking us for more bandwidth. The higher data rates push the bandwidth, so we have to look at the performance. It's more difficult as you go higher in frequency, but it's not something beyond our capabilities, because we've got a really good experienced engineering team who are very good at this sort of thing. Plus the fact we've been doing it for 20 years.
Right. So you're not seeing anything that is throwing you, so to speak. Because
Yes.
I want to move to the frequency aspect of this, where you guys excel. I mean, frequency is going to be an issue for LEO as these satellites will operate in KU to KA with you know, operating in V band, very high frequency. I mean, um, how is that going to get handled? That level of complexity, the size reduction these bands deliver will be extremely important to them. So, they're going to have to keep equipment to a minimum. Your amplifiers are going to need to be compact, aren't they?
Basically, in terms of amplifier technology and moving to higher frequencies, and obviously this is driven by the transponder bandwidths. Now, traditionally, we've seen 36 megahertz as a typical transponder bandwidth. Now, if you're looking at Ka and LEOs, or even MEOs, you're looking at 500 megahertz bandwidth on some of them. So
Mm,
there's a big
wow.
step change there. So the key implications are with amplifier technology and a lot of our other stuff is you're going to have wider bandwidths, which I've just indicated. And also, if you have a wider frequency range amplifier, then it's got a greater freedom of how you use it, i.e. if you've got an amp that works from 500 megahertz to um, 18 gigahertz is going to cover quite a lot of the bands, both IF and the native frequency of the satellites. Um,
Hmm.
so, for example, we've got two new products. One is as I said, 2 to 18 gigahertz. Another one is 850 to 3150 gigahertz, which are aimed at these wider bandwidths, like you find Ka band. In terms of the challenges, the higher you go in frequency, um, it becomes more challenging, but they're not insurmountable
Sure.
issues. The key ones for us and our customers are things like what's called the gain flatness and the linearity. That's all about not distorting the customer's signals because they don't like it if you distort their signals.
Right.
This is where we come in. This is where our expertise is, and we have a tremendously experienced and qualified team, R&D team of engineers that are addressing, these product
Yeah.
developments.
Yeah. Alex, is it going to be, given the, again, the landscape which is expanding, and it's great for the industry, it's great for our business, but is it going to be for ETL systems sort of an evolutionary engineering ramp up, or are you guys going to have to, or do you believe you guys are going to have to develop some just brand new technologies to address some of the
With the move to digital, longer term, say mid to end decade, digital is certainly on our roadmap. But at the moment, what we're doing is trying to come up with systems that are more modular, more reliable, easier to upgrade
Mhm.
for the customers. So in other words, they can spend less, they future proofing their stuff, i.e. reducing their capex. Yeah. That sort of direction by modularity. And for
Yep.
example, our latest
Yep.
product, which we call Genus, it's a modular thing where you can put modules in there like frequency converters, amplifiers, attenuators. There's a whole mix, LMB power supplies. You can fit them all in the same chassis. Obviously, there's a limit, and you can increase the chassis size, but that sort of thing.
Hmm. Hmm. Um, Alex, we could go on talking about this all day because it really is an exciting area for us in terms of the technology and the requirements. But we're almost out of time. But the name of this podcast, as you know, is The Better Satellite World. And I want to ask you, as someone who has been in the industry a long time and has contributed an awful lot on the tech and strategy side, if you could do one thing, right now or within the next 5 years of your career, to use technologies, to use ETL systems technology to make something better for the collective society, what would that be?
It's a good question. Quite unexpected. I think SATCOMs is going to remain very, very important to the world in general. So, our position in that is well established. We're well known in the industry, and I would hope that we would continue to do that. And basically, we're essentially back to what I said. Our basic um, offering to our customers is making sure they get the signals they require. In terms of the satellite industry in general, and what I've seen and the changes that are going on, I think when we all get through COVID, I think that the future for the satellite industry is really amazing for the next 10 years.
No doubt about it. And again, you guys will play an important role. And as you say, we are going to be doing things and just making sure that that signal gets through. We'll do
Yes.
things that enable all of these great applications and all of these great endeavors that we're embarked upon to get done. So, Alex, I really want to thank you for spending the time with us today on the Better Satellite World. Good luck going forward, and stay safe and healthy. And
Okay. I hope you do okay in New York as well. Yeah.
that concludes part one of our Better Satellite World series, Safe Landing. I'd like to again thank Alex Donnison of ETL. This series is underwritten with the generous support of Kongsberg Satellite Services. KSAT is a leading provider of ground station services for satellites, rocket launchers, and experimental spacecraft. KSAT supports 95% of the commercial satellites launched into non-geostationary orbit. With over 50 years of experience, KSAT's network spans over 180 antennas at 20 ground station locations across the globe. KSAT is proud to be the sponsors of this series and its role in making a better satellite world. These podcasts are also brought to you by the corporate partners of SSPI and the 3,000 members of Space and Satellite Professionals International and its chapters worldwide. To become a member of SSPI, visit sspi.org. Annual dues are only $100 US, and if you're a student, your membership is free. To hear more podcasts and watch our videos, visit bettersatelliteworld.com. We drop a new podcast every Monday. Reminder, you can still submit your nominations for the 2021 20 Under 35 cohort and the Mentor of the Year awards. Our future leaders and mentor will be honored at the annual Future Leaders Celebration in October at the Satellite Innovation Conference in Silicon Valley. To download a nomination form, please visit SSPI or contact Tamara Bond Williams. And follow us on Twitter at SSPI and check us out on LinkedIn and Facebook. For Space and Satellite Professionals International and our producer Ana Gomez, I'm Lou Zaccarella. Let's make it a better satellite world. Take care, everybody.